So guys, it's a real nice day in nature today, and it was a long walk to get up here. So I hope you guys appreciate the video. But there's three topics today that I wanted to mention. I wanted to talk about the Social Security Act, and mainly about how it like kind of changed society a little bit. It kind of like stopped inequalities, not just specifically among race, but maybe among old people too. Another topic I wanted to talk about is protest, but I'll let my partners get more into that. And the third one would be imperialism. But about the Social Security Act, I just wanted to say that old people back then, they experienced a lot of discrimination, I guess, in the workforce because they were so old that nobody really wanted to hire them. I guess that they were seen as like incapable of getting the job done, and young people were just seen as like more suitable, I guess. But this mainly started because after the Great Depression, the Great Depression of America, it really weakened its economy and unemployment rates were through the roof. The country just really needed employment. It really needed like structure, and that structure was falling off. But what the Social Security Act did, so when people work to a certain amount and they age, that they're gonna be able to retire at a certain age. And back then it wasn't always like this because people would work and they'd work until they're old, and they can't really just retire at any age they want to because that's how the economy was and that's how society was. But I think that the Social Security Act really fixed this today, and it really shapes American identity because unless you're working in like a federal government position, the Social Security Act is almost like guaranteed that you have a spot in it.
Right, so my question is, how did American imperialism in the early 20th century contradict the supposed values and ideals of the United States? So like a big thing is imperialism itself, the United States, being a nation that was kind of built off of the back of breaking off a way of colonialism, breaking off a way of imperialism. So it becomes very difficult when you become an imperialist nation yourself to kind of validate all that. And in the early 20th century, we see the Red Scares, we see all of this stuff, and we see the expansion of U.S. corporation into new markets after people started gaining their own rights in the U.S. Because once you have a standard established for somebody that is above certain means, somebody is going to lose something. Like when slaves were emancipated, we saw like the capitalist wasn't restricted to the plantations and the exploitation of labor on a like giant scale. We saw them taking this point, they go to other countries and they'll screw it up there, like Cuba. Cuba, became a dictatorship. But nonetheless, speaking furthermore on Cuba, the U.S. would uplift dictators that would contradict their values continuously. So while the U.S. would topple socialist and democratic institutions across the globe, like they were uplifting fascist ones, the very enemies we swore to defeat. So that's just kind of how it contradicts its own values, and it's kind of grown into this like paradoxical conflict between action and values has kind of grown to shape American identity and as a whole, where it doesn't really make sense, and we're taught values like liberty and justice for all, but it was really only for the landowning few. So while these grow and grow, people lose stuff somewhere else, and that's inherently contradictory of the pretense values and most closely resembles the hypocritical relationship in the capitalist means of production.
Nonviolent protests have contributed to the rights of African American people. My topic has changed the identity of African American people into what they perceived as now they are today, were treated with equal rights. Nowadays, movements like BLM show how African Americans are still fighting for their rights and identity to this day.
Alright guys, so to wrap this up, I just wanted to say that these three topics, being the Social Security Act and how they kind of solved social inequalities, along with imperialism and specifically nonviolent protest, and how they just changed American identity as a whole and how it structured the economy in a better way. And the economy was really in desperate need of this back in this time.
Global interventionism has shaped what America is today.
in a varying amount of ways. We've seen this with the Afghanistan war, we've seen it with our intervention economically in foreign conflicts like Israel and Ukraine. We still receive accusations from other countries of doing some not so great stuff. So global interventionism still affects the world today, and the military, the industrial complex in America, and it has shaped our identity as Americans, how we perceive the rest of the world, and kind of what goes and doesn't go as a country. So yeah.
Nowadays, right?
Go.
Movement.
A few moments later.
We got the bus from Fortnite, guys. Don't forget to thank the bus driver, always.
Right there.